All right, so nothing to it with this one. This is the great debate day, and we finally have our first opponent here, which is Cooley. He went on one of my videos about making fun of PC fanboys, and I think that whole entire string of videos, I want to keep in mind, this video was like 6 years old, maybe 7 years old. This whole entire time I was making fun of not only PC fanboys because equal amounts of treatment and jokes here, but it was PC fanboys, Xbox fanboys, PlayStation fanboys, and Nintendo fanboys, citing that no platform on its own individually is really perfect, like people tend to label it out to be, and PC Master Race is no exception to the rule. It comes out sometimes with developers not really giving a shit about certain ports. And if the port works on console, then I am a hybrid owner. I could just go to console and play that particular port and I'll have no issues, no problems, right? If it works there optimized, then that's where I'm going to go as a hybrid owner. And I believe that PC sometimes gives like a little bit of a headache when trying to troubleshoot. You could go on a bit of a wild goose chase when trying to find certain issues that will work or not, whether you get like bugs or audio glitches or things of that nature. It could be a bit daunting. And I like the plug and play convenience sometimes of a console. I believe it's a lot more stress free in my experience, with just having maybe a bug check come up, you press a button, optional report, and then you're back into the game. I do think that PC is a great platform, though. I do believe that it has the best graphics, the best options for trying to play games online, which is free, but there is issues as well. It's not 100% perfect. It's like a step of the way there, but it's not perfect really. And of course, if you want a damn like a PC that runs like most modern games like well or decent, you're gonna be paying a bit more money than expected. That's kind of how it goes. I paid like upwards to about $1,000 or something for my PC. That's how much it was, that's how much it is. Upgrading as well, sometimes it can be a nightmare. So he came to my video, express his grievances. It was a bit toxic as the comments and the conversation progressed, so he called me at like 1 a.m. and this was the preceding great debate day. As I said, I am Renegade Operative. If anyone has some issue and they want to get personal, or if someone out there comes in and they have a big issue, hey, my Discord is Renegade Operative, we can talk. I had like 50 people deny debates, so maybe this guy is like the only one who did not, and I give him props for it, really I do. We settled the matter in a constructive way and we understood our points. But if you want to come on the great debate day, just let me know. My Discord is in the comment section. Go check that out. Go add me if you want to. Express your motherfucking disagreements. And now, for the video, let's begin.
And like Minecraft and a couple other games, TF2.
Okay, so you're calling me over a 6-year-old video. That's what you're making three.
You gave my old videos views too. I mean, we can play that.
Okay,
game.
so we can play that game right after you said that. Oh,
no, I mean,
my channel age, my channel age is better when I got like 1 million views over you. So your channel age is better. Okay, fam, I understand.
I haven't made content in like several years. What's your point?
Okay, you haven't made content several years. Why would you bring this up in the present?
You brought up views as well.
You brought this up in the present to me first. What are you talking about?
What do you mean? I said you made videos on console wars related shit. Like,
okay, I have more than just console war shit, right? You know this. I just talked about the Nintendo Switch 2 positively like a couple of days ago. Is that a console war video? Oh no, I don't think so.
Interesting. Because your video that I watched, which I actually watched, more than 5 seconds. Most YouTubers like you, of course, would say shit like that, because they tried to disparage and or just sort of have a way to not have that point be made, and or oh, that's not a good point.
All right,
I've
so
seen it countless times. You're not the newest one to do this.
what is your point? What do I need to watch more than 5 seconds?
I wasn't talking about you.
Okay,
It's talking
then
about me.
all right, then what is your point in general? Elaborate.
I'm trying to elaborate, which was that, of course, you would probably try to make a point of, oh, well, he probably didn't likely watch like at least 5 seconds in. Oh, I watched quite a bit of it in.
I never said that you didn't watch the video, so where are you getting that from?
I was making a sort of point of you likely would have made a point, as many others like to do this, of, well, he didn't watch far enough into the video.
Well, I didn't, and in none of my comments I said that. So, moving on.
Let's go back to the comments. I'm glad you brought that up.
All right.
Bring in the comments yet. That's the juicy part.
No,
Comments.
take your
You went
time.
on PC Elitists, which I'll be honest with you too as well. I can actually agree on some points when it comes to PC Elitists. I actually don't like them. First and foremost, I don't actually like PC Elitists and do not consider myself one. In fact, there's quite a bit of things I do not like that they do.
All right. So the things I talked about in my video, the stuff that they do when they say PC is perfect, that's
No, I never said that as well. I would say there is things that the PC does that can have problems.
no, but that's essentially what I talked about in the video. As most people say, PC is perfect. I say I had issues with PC as a PC user. The meme that I used in that video that you seem to have issue with is literally, oh, I'm a glorious god gamer, meaning I play on PC and I play on console. So it means I have the best of both worlds. Like, one is not neglected over the other one. Like you realize that's the point. That's the stance that I have, right?
Okay, let's read your comment then. Thusly, it's okay. You don't want to admit faults to the PC, and you're stuck needing driver updates. Impeccable grammar, by the way. Driver updates and troubleshooting and tutorials to make games even function correctly. Which, of course, I already responded to that point. Same goes for not naming every exclusive day one. Still, after all these years, well, that didn't age well. I'll take my hybrid ownership, best of both worlds. End up replying.
Yeah, that part is
Either
true.
you don't use built-in you need to use built-in drivers, which is true. You don't exactly have to need to use built-in drivers. I mean, you can.
And that sometimes enhances the performance of the game. And when I was playing Far Cry 4, I could not play the game due to needing a driver update.
You were saying Far Cry 4.
Yeah. As for the point of it aged poorly because console exclusives, like all the PlayStation stuff, went to PC. PC does not get everything day one. Like you do.
I never said day one. I was saying that most of them, which I was very specific on, ended up going to PC eventually.
Yeah, but this is my point. I'm not saying you made that point. That's my point. My point is PC does not get all the exclusives day one. So therefore, that's why most people like having consoles here or there, because they get the game immediately, and sometimes PC people have to wait. It literally turned into a running meme where some PC people are like, "Oh, PC master wait." When console dudes say this, why do you think that's a meme? Because they don't get everything they want. Now there was an argument.
It's coming.
Yeah, it is coming.
It's going to be coming day one.
No, it's not coming day one. It's coming, but it's not coming day one. It depends on the game as well. Like,
so with Red Dead 2, that was the case. With any of these other games coming closer and closer and closer, those were the cases.
What about Stellar Blade? That's not on PC yet.
Stellar Blade, okay.
What about Wow, what else? What the fuck else do they have? Jesus Christ. I don't know what else Sony is doing right now, so I'm drawing like a blank, but I know that's like one of the games they have that's like not day one yet. I will have to look at PlayStation exclusives. Oh my god. But still, that is a game that, again, and most of the other future PlayStation games, I can even cite Intergalactic. That's not going to be on PC day one. GTA 6, that's probably going to get time to have an optimized PC port, just like GTA 5. Which is fine. They could take extra time to do the PC port. I don't have no problem with that, but you do have to wait for it. So those are some big heavy hitter games that are not coming day one to
Yeah, heavy
PC.
hitter games is in 3 games.
I mean, it
You got
counts.
3.
It counts, right?
When it comes to PC, I mean,
There's going to be
it's not like
more.
I even care. I mean, I'm just like, holy shit! Wait a minute, they're on PC now. I'm like, oh, okay, I guess.
There's going to be more. I
And
mean, when it comes to someone's specific interests, of course, naturally, they're going to be like, oh, I don't care if that game's coming, or I do care because it's on my platform of choice. But both sides do that. Like, literally, even the side that says, oh, well, this game's going to be exclusive to my platform, nobody else should get it. Both sides kind of do that in a way. And I don't
I
think
think,
that.
well, and I can agree, exclusivity is bad. Yes, I can agree with that.
Mhm. So
And
we're
I can agree,
we're
yeah,
on the
because
same
you
page
didn't choose
there.
the right plastic box, right? So you get fucked over because of it.
Yeah, so we're on the same page there. Like, we exclusivity, if it comes to people having the software, then I totally don't mind that at all. I don't care if it's Nintendo, Xbox, or PlayStation. As long as people can play it, that's fine. But I'm talking about incentive here. If people want to play something on their platform of choice first and it doesn't come to PC immediately, I can understand some people saying, oh, I don't feel like waiting. I would rather get this hardware now and do this. But again, PC does have its advantages, and I said this before, like the best graphics. You're only gonna get those on PC. You're not gonna get those on console.
And frame rate as well.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I am happy, though. I am happy, and I did make a video years ago in one of my old videos that was that 60 FPS should be a standard in consoles, and they kind of are now.
Well, I mean, the Xbox Series X, they recently put out a statement saying not all their games are going to be 60 this generation.
Yeah, yeah, that's true.
I think it was one this 30. So they're trying to adhere to that statement, but they haven't really matched up to it yet.
Yeah,
Uh,
I mean, it's gotten better over the years compared to the Xbox One. I'm so glad I skipped the Xbox One. I went from like the 360 to like the PC. I was like, no, I'm done with this. Like, why am I? My personal reason though was because I'm like, I'm paying to play on a game on the internet I'm already paying for. Basically, I'm just giving Sony and Microsoft free money at this point. What the hell am I doing?
Oh, so you mean paying for online? Well, I don't. I kind of lucky, whereas I have a game share partner, so he kind of pays for the online. I go half. It's just like kind of a whatever convenience, but I've never set any slight to being able to uh play on Steam for free and not pay for an online subscription. And even when I was just kind of like, well, I like this multiplayer, this Uncharted multiplayer that I'm playing, so why not go ahead and play more of it? What is the other arguments that you wanted to bring up?
Hmm. What was one of the ones I said?
You had more arguments, given the threads and all the other stuff about troubleshooting and whatnot that you mentioned.
I'm glad you brought that one up. When it came to troubleshooting, going under 4K sling, a resolution, and then it's in Gen Z. Oh, there's a lot more here. And the insults. Oh, I didn't correct the record on that one. It was not that one. It was also about. Oh, I mean, we probably have to go up then. When it came to. Oh yeah, we got on a side tangent on that one.
All right, take your time.
Mm-hmm.
I guess I'll address the
It is a big
4K.
thread.
Yeah, it is. I'll address the 4K thing real quick. That's just a figure of speech, like live in 4K. Like when someone's
Mm.
caught live in 4K. And you
No,
said,
I know that. I mean, I did respond to that with no 8K as a sort of response, kind of leaning into the meme.
yeah, that's fine, but that's just traditional millennial or Gen Z slang that people tend to use. I didn't agree with it
Mm.
being boomer logic because most boomers don't even know what memes are barely, so that's kind of where that came from.
Mm. And like I said, I had responded saying no in 8K,
That's
being
fine.
able to lean into the meme,
That's fine.
and thus.
I'm just waiting for the troubleshooting half, essentially.
Let us see. It's probably better if I went to the video itself, the original.
Oh, this video wasn't.
Ooh, that probably. Ooh.
Hear myself?
Yeah. I hate having to hear myself too. Don't worry. No, that was the last part. I believe it was later into this.
Do you know which comment this was in particular? So maybe I could try to find it.
Let's see. Not that one. It was. Let us find it. Oh, that was a good point I wanted to go over too.
I want to mention something real quick about deleting comments. So I don't delete comments on YouTube. If someone's comment is deleted, they've probably said something derogatory, or they posted a link, or they posted spam, which is out of my control. If there is comments that are flagged, I usually try to go back and approve them, but that's the only reason why comments are gone. I do not delete comments on videos. Even at
And it
max
also could be,
even at max disagreement, where people were like they didn't like my Stellar Blade opinions, I was very adamant about that game. I did not like it, and I deleted no one's comment. So they're
which is
all.
good. It would be a good thing. Because, at least you're not pulling a JTech TV, how he is.
No, I don't like JTech. I've already went on record. I think JTech is a fraud. He plays easy games and gets easy platinums, and believes that because he does that, he's better than everyone else. So I already don't like that guy, and he's the biggest PlayStation pony in the community.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I believe it was troubleshooting in the form of, I believe, when it comes to, like, if your hardware goes bad, right? Or if, like, a certain problem had rised up and whatnot. And at that point, you would want to be able to find out how to fix the problem, which I think is very, very good. As somebody who has had to do a lot of different kinds of self teaching and whatnot when it came to the PC. When I was 17, when I was first doing PC gaming, I had no idea what I was doing. But I was like, well, I have this whole sort of thing where I can be like almost any information in the entire world at my disposal that I can do. And I was like, well, wouldn't be bright of me not to use it. So I was thinking, well, I'm not trying to disparage a sort of idea of trying to do your own research. It was more of, it also would come also down to other things, like depending on how you search it as well. It's not just da-da-da problem, da-da-da how to fix it, help me ChatGPT. It's more of a, how do you switch around the way you search things to find certain results, because it's not always going to be general like that. And I get that, I understand that, because I've had very specific problems with certain things, and I'm like, this is bullshit. But I am glad that at least we can be able to have that at our disposal, because with my generation, I mean, we've already grown into that. I mean, I'm a Gen Zer. I grew up into that generation where we have already had the ability to research stuff. It was just less prominent of the internet at the time. I guess overall, what I would try to get at is that you have the ability to do the research and really help yourself, but not just that general statement. But ultimately, when it comes to a larger fix, I mean, yeah, I mean, you can either end up going through forums and whatnot for hours on end, but ultimately, it's going to be also on how you search for that said thing as well.
All right, so here's my stance on that. So I didn't say that consoles don't crash. They do crash. They do have bug checks. They do have things like yellow light of death. But I mean, sometimes PC has defective products or defective items or defective capture cards and graphics cards as well. So it's all relative on that one. My point was that for just faster bug checks, if you have like something like a game crash or whatever. I've had this happen to me when playing Evil Within 2 on PS4, where my game crashed in the middle of my speed run. All that happened was it said, here's a problem where you can report the bug. You press the button, and then the console either resets or the game resets. You press the button again, you're back in the game. Some other issues, depending on how specific they are for PC, you will run into more loops than normal. So to get Max Payne 1, for example, on Steam to work on PC, I had to look up a Steam forum, see if everyone else had the same problem as me. And it's like, oh, okay, there's an audio issue where the audio doesn't play. I'm having the same problem. This guy provides a patch link. I download that, type that in, go there, or download it to my computer, unzip it, boom. But you see, I'm still taking more time as opposed to just pressing two buttons, which is what I was kind of saying. Like, in that process, one is kind of faster than the other, and I can see why some people kind of say, well, it's a little bit more stress-free to not go to a website and download something in order to fix the audio for a game. Like, I could just reset it and it works just normal, it works just fine. Now, I'm not discrediting research. Like, research is cool. Like, it helps you to your problem if you can find it. Sometimes it doesn't, because I had issues that were a lot bigger that required a full system reboot in order to fix the issue. But at the same time, it's less stress if you press two buttons versus like looking something up in a detailed manner. And you know, that's fine if people are fine with doing that. I have no problems with that whatsoever. But again, what I'm saying is one is still kind of a little bit faster than the other, so it's kind of convenient to just press two buttons, be over with the bug check, is done, as opposed to having to find a specific issue. And I think the specific ones are the hardest ones, because someone might not have that problem, maybe close, and you look it up and it's like, oh, you know, I had a different issue. You apply that, it doesn't work. But someone else might have an issue where it's like, yeah, this is the same problem I'm having, and this is what I need to get. So it is really dependent on how you do look it up, but that does take some time when you really look into it. So that's all I was saying there.
Okay.
You mentioned having to pay for mods and stuff like that, and I just kind of brought up the point of, well, everyone's just kind of a consumer at this rate. Like, I just find that to be a back and forth. You're a consumer response. And there's some mods, like I said, that it's one of the last things I said actually, where there's some mods that really don't work. Like, you know, it might be trying to play some certain things early and get some things early, but DMC5, for example, where people tried to mod a playable Virgil, it ran like shit. It did not run as fine as when the actual game devs made it. It was just a little test drive to see if it works out just fine on PC. So people cannot recreate full on like intended gameplay features at times without there being some headache or hurdle or the hit detection being off. It doesn't always fix everything. Meaning that you just can't get everything for free, just like that piece of content, which is why I think it's fine to buy pieces of content like that if it works out well. The only thing I know is that Bethesda will sell mods, paid mods, but I don't know if they still do them or not, but I'm not much of a Fallout guy, so I don't really buy any of those in particular. But that's the only one that I know. Is
Okay.
there is there anything else you wanted to mention?
I wanted to say, replying to the whole mod situation, that, well, I mean, ultimately, if you're just having to open a zip file, and ultimately with 7-zip, you just left click, press extract here. Oh no, I'm done. Or, I mean, in the instance of Steam, I mean, I already have, the ability to go to my game and properties, and then not that one, general. It would be, no, not general. It'd be the game files. If it was broken, there'd be an option to be able to fix your game files.
It depends on the mod.
Play it again.
It really depends on the mod, because some mods, to get things working, I had to go to multiple files and put those things in those specific files. I think one example was getting extra characters in Marvel vs. Capcom 3 Ultimate, because I had to find certain files to put things in. So there's instructions, there's directions on how you do this, but it does vary from just extract at points. You got to extract it to a certain place, otherwise it's just not going to work out fine. So this situation, to me, that's all case by case basis. Some things are easier than others to do. Sometimes it's not, if you're setting up a super complex mod, which I know is going to be the case with the Resident Evil randomizers, because it took me a while to set that up.
I was also going to say, not only with Steam also having built-in mods, sometimes with some games, not all games, and also the fact you can get, a mod manager too. I mean, if you ultimately don't really want to have to deal with stuff like that, you can also have the option for a mod manager.
Oh yeah, absolutely. That is a thing where some games have built-in mod managers, and you could just click on something at the push of a button. I think there's hex cheats as well that you could do, and they'll put that in the mod manager, no problem. But like I said, there are some games that don't do this, and you have to go into manual files and fuck around just a little bit with extractions to get things working. It's no different than setting up sometimes an emulator. You have to put things in the right place, otherwise it's not going to work.
Oh. I have a very specific experience when it comes to the modability of a game. Specifically, I was a big fan of Mario Sunshine, even though the game came out, when I was like 2, right? Mm-hmm. But when I was growing up, and I was younger, still in console. Specifically, I was a Nintendo guy in the past, because I actually liked Nintendo of the past, not Nintendo now. Mm-hmm. Not the ones that would like shut down the eShop and shit, and like get rid of. Do stuff like that, and like
that's
I was like, what are they doing, man?
That really.
And then
sucked,
they were like
dude.
shutting down like the older ones. I'm like, well, there goes your ability for old backwards compatibility for that console. Well, that one too, I guess. I was like, what are they doing? But yeah, more to the point, I was just like, when it comes to like the GameCube emulators and whatnot, which by the way, if you're not Herman Smith, and you're not dumb enough to think they're actually illegal, which no, the software itself is not illegal. The ROMs, as long as they are legally dumped, it's perfectly fine.
I do not like that guy either. He came to my channel at one point, and I was just like, who is this guy? But I don't like him either, so it's ironic.
You don't know the lore of Harmon Smith, bro. He is insane, dude. He is insane. The Mr. Basement dwelling freaking Ted Bundy lookalike himself.
Ted Bundy?
The dude lives literally in a boiler basement. Like, I'm like, what is this guy's deal? I'm like, okay, he's got the Mario hat down. I mean, he's got like a friggin'. I was like, wait a minute, what's that next to him? Oh, he's in a boiler room. This guy's like Freddy Krueger, like trying to be Freddy Krueger or something.
It reminds me of Mankind from wrestling. I don't know if you're a wrestling fan or watch wrestling, but he used to be
Mankind. Oh yeah.
Yeah, he used to be in a boiler room in his promos. And I'm like, what the fuck is this? This is so weird, dude.
Yeah, I remember when they still had the Irish guy still on there.
Yeah.
I remember that. Yeah, I mean, I was trying to basically mod the game, so I was like, oh, it's probably gonna be all da 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 da. But like, I was like, okay, like extract it, and then like copy over a file, and then it was like, and then basically just repack it to an ISO again. I was like, I'm done. I'm like, wait, what? Wait, what? Of course, when it comes to multiple mods, that's different, right? But I was trying to do like a sort of modification of like Mario Sunshine because I wanted to be able to have an improvement upon what they did in 02, and of course, the glitches are still there. But I mean, I sort of, you know, when you got ones like Mario Sunburn, you have like all kinds of different mods when it comes to the game. I mean, it's nice to have considering the game is that old. But yeah, I mean, I mean, for me, a guy who's not really big into the modding scene, I mean, I was just like, holy crap, like, what? You just do that? And I was like, trying to like search back, and I was like, oh, okay, I guess you do that. I did it, and I was like, oh, okay, it works.
Some
So then,
people,
you know, I had like a,
some people do make glorious things on PC. I mentioned this before. The Resident Evil randomizers, they are really great. Streamers seem to really enjoy them. It adds replayability to the game. I know a friend said it earlier in a podcast I did with them like yesterday. Oh, they're never gonna do that like officially for Capcom because it's too much work, and I agree. But if the fans can do it and get it done, it's a wonderful thing because it adds new elements to the game by adding random creatures everywhere. So it is beautiful when people manage to make their own stuff and they make some content out of that. It's pretty good.
yeah. And I mean, not just the Sunburn one. I was literally able to do like literal multiplayer. I mean co-op, right? In a 2002 game. I mean, that's like, I mean, you know, I mean, co-op today. I mean, it's still a thing. But I mean, personally, I just wish it kind of could have been like the old days and the 360 days, or even the like the pre Xbox One era when that was like still a huge thing. Like you'd go to your friend's house, right? I mean, for my generation, I think we were the last ones to even do things like that anymore. Nobody really does that as much as I remember anymore as it used to be. I mean, when I was younger, you just go to your friend's house and you play your GameCube together, and it was good times. I mean, although the four screens, of course, like really made it lag, but we didn't care. It was the GameCube. We didn't care. You know, it was just like a different time, right? And in those days, right, I was sitting there like, oh crap! Like I got like two Mario's on like on sort of a split screen thing, and you can like add more. And I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. So then I can have like a friend with a second controller, right? It kind of can mimic that sort of the split screen style era of its time, right? And it's nice to still have it.
Yeah, the old days have definitely been long past. There still is some conveniences, but I do agree that my main issue with like most consoles nowadays is just and many storefronts in general, so I would aim this at the publishers, is just delisting stuff like old games people actually want to play, and where you just get rid of them because it's like, oh, we have a new version out, or oh, we have to get rid of this because we ran out of license, when those are people that are missing out on those experiences. Like I got really pissed when my friend, I think they unlisted the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles game Out of the Shadows on Steam. He bought it for me. He wanted me to play it, but they took it back down again because they realized how we fucked up, we made a mistake. And I'm like, I would like to play that game and get my hands on it, and someone bought it for me, but I just couldn't because again they retook it away again, which is kind of messed up. Like if this stuff stayed, I would pay for it literally, because I want to preserve those games on my system and play them whenever I want. But if they keep taking tools like that away, then I see why folks are like, okay, I'm gonna try to get another copy or do some alternative means or go to a flea market and get this game cheaper because there's no other way I could play it elsewhere on my modern console, which sucks.
And I mean, ultimately, I think even modern consoles are. I'll be honest with you. Even Xbox and PlayStation are a lot better when it comes to, even compared, way better than compared to Nintendo. Nintendo's like, nah, you want this like 20-year-old game? Nah, you're screwed. Screw you. Why would you want to play that? It's like, yeah, because it was my childhood, you dick. That's the point.
Yeah, their Nintendo Plus program or subscriptions and all that stuff is kind of crazy. I'm kind of really shocked they didn't really put up a GameCube like store yet. where
No.
it's like they took a couple of key games like Metroid Prime 1, remastered them. That's cool. But all those notable titles from the GameCube are not all on the Switch system. So I'm just kind of like, okay, what are they doing here? It's just like isolating and cutting things off. But before we sidetrack any further, I wanted to say, is there any other sort of thing you wanted to mention from the comment section at all that I could answer?
No, not really, man. I mean, there's no hard feelings ultimately from my side. I mean, we threw insults, but that's the internet, man. That's what we do. The internet's full of shit talking. You throw shit, you get shit back. That's what it is.
Yeah,
Our generation, we grew up on that.
yeah, we trash talk all the time. We go to like a lobby, we talk a little shit, or we try
Yeah.
to one up each other. Sometimes it's never like super hard feelings or anything. We're mostly just passionate about video games, and it really shows.
Mm-hmm.
So that's just showing like we got the drive to sort of talk about this stuff, and it's really just water under the bridge when we have conversations like this. I think this was very constructive to do. For the video that I had on the rant about PC Elitist, because there's some things that PC does do well, and there's some things that console does do well, doesn't do well, but it's all relative. Like I said, I think
Mm-hmm.
my position is I like to sit in the hybrid sort of climate where I'm like, I have a PC, I have a PS5, I have an Xbox Series. It's really good so far. Maybe I'll get a Switch too, who knows. But and then I test out what is positive, what is negative, because when I made that video, I also talked about Nintendo people and how they have certain fanaticisms, like
Oh yeah. Big time.
everything needs to be on Switch when the Switch has like inferior hardware. And now we see that with the Steam Deck. Compared to the Steam Deck, it has better hardware than the Switch. So some people are in denial about that. Xbox people, where it's like, oh, they don't have a lot of high tier exclusives that people want. They rely on Game Pass a lot. I talked about that. And then PlayStation is like, they have good exclusives, but their features and their storefront is lacking, especially when putting PS2 games up there. That's one thing I always ranted about. Like,
Mm-hmm.
where
I
are
agree with
all
that.
the good PS2 games on here? Why are they not updating this? It's something I ranted about for years.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's the same thing with Nintendo. They're the same way. They're like, oh, you want this like 30-year-old game that like you had really good memories about. It brings back a lot of good memories. It's like, no, we don't give a shit. I mean, even PlayStation is even slightly better than that. I mean, even they are better than that. I mean, they're not the greatest about it, but they're at least more. I mean, they're a lot more like consistent. I mean, they're a lot more like willing to do a lot of that stuff compared to way better than Nintendo. I mean, Nintendo's like, yeah, right, buddy. I mean, look what happened on the eShop. I really wanted to bring up the eShop, right? Look
Mhm.
what the hell happened to the eShop. Do you remember what the hell happened to the eShop? Because I remember the eShop got shut the fuck down because the Nintendo, being a Nintendo, being complete retards, and we're like, nope, we're just gonna like shut it down, even though they had like, not the not like top tier games, but ones that were at least a sort of addition to what you had already. I mean, back then, I mean, games not only were cheaper, but you also had additions like the eShop, which were like dirt cheap by comparison, way cheap. I remember those games were like 83 cents. I'm like, I mean, for the time, I didn't have a, I didn't have a wallet or let alone a phone of my own at this point. Considering I was probably like 11, but like, considering the fact that even for that time, that's still really cheap, even for then, that you had that option. And yeah, I think it's real good that you end up having that sort of viability with the like extra options that you have, not just, oh, yeah, you do have like boom 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 boom, like freaking like Mario Kart, freaking Wii Fit Plus, freaking Wii Move, all that shit, right, that I remember growing up. And links. I remember specifically the links crossbow training thing. I
Yeah.
specifically had that one, and friggin' one of my favorites being I'm playing. I actually ended up playing it on my PC, although it lags a little bit. It still plays though pretty well. Rampage Total Destruction for the Nintendo Wii, which I loved growing up. I had so much fun as an attention deficit riddled motherfucker. I loved that shit. Just the instant action of beating shit, eating people, fucking throwing people, kicking motherfuckers out in the stratosphere. It was fun shit.
Rampage
No,
is
I
so
loved
fun,
it.
dude. I remember playing World Tour on
World
PlayStation, and
Tour.
that game was so fucking awesome, dude. It's like, yeah, those regular like simplistic just smash them up, and those arcade style games, just bring those back. Like I would definitely pay for some of those. They were part of my childhood, so that's one thing that's definitely missing in this era. Just a lot of, and I know WB owns a lot of midway stuff, but I just wish I would get my hands on more of their like collections and everything, because they were actually awesome. They were super cool.
Yeah,
But
definitely. I
but
mean,
I think this was a good discussion. I just have one more thing. Like I did come into this call expecting it to, just be out of hand and be worse than I did record it, and it turned out to be a good discussion. So I'm just asking, like, you personally, would you mind if I like record this and put this on YouTube so people can see how we talked and sort of got along over
yeah.
time?
Oh, definitely. I think yeah, I mean, it was kind of like with the Vertingo's old videos, right? Yeah, and I don't mind at all. I'm perfectly fine with that. It's a good idea to see that even if we come to differences, at least, at least we're not Harmon Smith, at least we're not friggin' J-Tech or Crap Gamer or any of them, at least we're not them.
Oh,
And yeah,
those
I
guys
mean,
are
at least we're not
terrible.
them.
I
Oh,
don't.
God, yeah.
J Tech was showing his dick pics to like people
Oh,
on
I
Twitter.
remember. I
And
was like,
it's
bro, what is wrong with this guy? I was like, what the fuck?
I was
Like,
like,
what level of creep are you on?
what? It
You like
was,
text them and shit. And then there was that doctor. I remember the doctor. They ended up like doxing a patient on the freaking bed. I remember that shit. I watched the video on it.
oh, I think I am sort of familiar with it, but it was a passing story. Like, when someone got doxxed, and I was just like, dude, you
Yeah,
literally put
the
your
dude was
job in
literally
jeopardy.
console warring on Twitter while tweeting that shit out in the doctor's room. You're working on his heart, motherfucker. This ain't the time for that.
Yeah. But I think this was super great. It shows that yes, there can be nuanced sides to this whole console thing, and like I said before, everything's all good, water under the bridge. When you really get two gamers in a room and they really just talk about what they love the most, they start having things in common. It just happens from time to time, and I'm glad for this discussion, really, and having you here, Cooley. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna probably also put your channel in the description as well, give you some promotion there, so you can see this, and
I don't know if he was.
yeah, it just gets you some views, man, and see how these discussions like really go. But it turned out to be fun in the end, so I definitely don't regret it.
Yeah, definitely.